Do you work from home or you work from an office? Do you have a home office? Describe the space where you work. How could it be better? Do you think you are more productive when you work from home or when you work from the office, and why? Have you ever considered being a digital nomad? So this is what we're going to talk about in a smart my group conversation group Smart Talk. And in this group, we only have students who are in the intermediate level and want to reach advanced. So to help them do that, I bring everyday interesting topics in adult life, and I want to take their vocabulary into the next level. So we always have vocabulary lessons with lots of ideas and phrasal verbs and expressions that will allow them to develop their thoughts and their opinions in a more natural way, in a more precise way, in a more interesting way. So as you watch this lesson, repeat out loud, adapt the examples so they are true for you. And I'm going to propose a lot of activities as we go. Please, I invite you to stop the video and actually try them out. These activities will give you an idea of how well you can or cannot speak about this topic, about work and working from home. And, this is everyday life nowadays. Take a look at these images here. What do you see? This is something that I'm going to ask in my conversation class. I always bring pictures and I encourage students to discuss the images. So, what do you see here? Is this an open plan office? Does it look like a co-working space? What about this photo? What do you see here? What's going on? Have you ever worked from home with your kid on your lap? Is it possible to work from home with your kid around you? What about this guy here working in bed? Would you ever be able to do that? Would you feel productive? Is your work something that could be done from your bed? Is this healthy? Look at the questions that I am proposing. Stop the video, try to answer them. How do you feel about these questions? Try to express your thoughts out loud. That's speaking, okay? What about this guy working from a cafe? Have you ever worked from a cafe? Cubicle. I have never worked from a cubicle, but I imagine that it might be quieter than the open plan office, right? What about working from the beach? I have tried working from the beach. It did not work for me. I got distracted and I had to carry lots of things and I ran out of battery and you get stuff dirty with sand. I didn't like the experience, but I do love working from cafes depending on what I have to do. And I even teach some lessons while I'm traveling. Sometimes I teach some lessons from cafes if I have problems in the Airbnb I rent. Sometimes we have problems with Wi-Fi. So, how do you feel about the questions I just proposed? Let's jog your creativity. Let's start warming up. Let's start talking about this topic. Now, moving on to our vocabulary lesson. Take a look at this. A digital nomad. Have you ever considered being a digital nomad? Repeat, use your voice. Have you ever considered being a digital nomad? Do you think you would be a good digital nomad? Why? Why not? And remote work, okay? Is remote work something feasible, possible in your area? Have you ever tried? Did it work? Okay. What about co-working space? Digital nomads rely heavily on co-working spaces. I have worked from co-working spaces in where? I think in Uruguay. I tried once. And somewhere else, I don't remember exactly where, maybe New York. Okay, so I have tried co-working spaces, okay, with or without a hyphen, all right? What about a work visa? Have you ever, have you ever applied for a work visa? Do people need a work visa to work from Brazil? Okay. Do you know anyone who holds a work visa anywhere else? Okay. Work visa. And the cost of living. Okay. Is the cost of living high in your city? Many people move abroad because of the cost of living in their hometowns. And we are going to see that in class. Many people move abroad because of the cost of living in their hometown. increasing cost of living. What about the infrastructure? Okay. As a digital nomad, what kind of infrastructure do you need? What is the infrastructure like at your office? When you work from home, when I look around, I see a lamp, a second screen. I have another lamp here. I have some books on the shelf with a scenario. I have an outlet. I have sockets. I have drawers, and then my diaries here. So, what is the infrastructure that you need to work comfortably? I do not have a good bed, a good chair. You see, I work from a wooden chair, and well, I've just got here. I'm buying another one. Don't worry. But what is the infrastructure that you have like? Okay, infrastructure. What about amenities? Okay, what amenities do you like to have close to you during working hours? So if you think of the office, what amenities do you like to have around the office? Maybe it's a drugstore, snack bar, or a restaurant, or a bank. What amenities do you like? Maybe the gym, okay? If you work from home, what amenities should you have around you to make your life easier? Now, this is a very interesting expression and structure here. To work US hours. So many people work remotely. Digital nomads might live in Brazil, they might live in Europe or in Canada or in Asia, but they work US hours, okay? From 8 to 5 in the US. So this is something for you to pay attention to when you apply for jobs online, because many of them allow you to work remotely, but they set a specific time zone you have to respect. So sometimes that's going to be during the night for you. Are you willing to do that? So to work US hours, or to work according to Beijing time. I work according to Beijing time. In my case, I live in Buenos Aires and I work according to Brazil's time, which now is the same, but next year is going to be different because they are going to adapt the daylight saving hour. Is it the name? I don't remember. So there will be a time difference during summer, but I work according to Brazil's time. Okay? I keep Brazil hours. Yeah? So this is how you refer to it. What about freelancers? Many freelancers choose to live as a nomad nowadays, right? Many freelancers choose to live. Have you ever worked as a freelancer? Repeat. Use your voice. Have you ever worked as a freelancer? Yes, no, why? Okay. Affordable. Okay. Being a digital nomad allows you to move to more affordable cities. So let's say you make $5,000 a month and you're from California and you move to São Paulo. $5,000 in São Paulo, that's what? 5 times 5? $4,000, 20 something, 22,000 reais in São Paulo. Can you live a good life? Right? So maybe $4,000 in California wouldn't buy her the same life 22,000 reais would buy her in São Paulo. So that's a more affordable city. All right? Repeat. Affordable. There's a huge mosquito here. Okay. I'm not going to allow that to distract me. So affordable, cheap. What about isolating? It might be isolating to live as a digital nomad. It might be isolating, okay? There are communities because it's isolating. Isolating, yeah? Now, phrasal verbs related to the topic. What are some phrasal verbs that we can use when we are talking about digital nomads, okay? To set up. Set up means to organize, to prepare, all right? To organize something. So when I travel, for example, I travel for long periods, a month, 2 months. So what I do is I set up my workspace in the Airbnb. If I stay at my brother's, I set up my workspace in the Airbnb, the specific apartment, okay? So I set up my workspace. I can set up my workspace anywhere. I can set up my workspace from anywhere, sorry. To move around. To move around. Now, she moves around every few months. She's a digital nomad and she moves around every few months. Repeat. She moves around every few months. Would you like to do that? Even though I work from home, oh, sorry, even though I work while I travel, I wouldn't like to be a digital nomad. I think I prefer having a house. You know, that's important, having a family and dogs and a house and plants. But I do travel while working, and that's also pretty nice. Now, check in. To check in, just like the expression that we use in Portuguese when we are talking about flights and the airport. And you can do that when it comes to hotels as well. So, for example, when I came to Argentina a couple of years ago, I spent a month here and I checked in. I checked in at a short-term rental in Bariloche. And then I came to Buenos Aires and I checked in at another short-term rental. To check in, to check in at a short-term rental. Do you understand this expression? So you check in at a hotel. You check in at an Airbnb. To check in at, okay, the hotel, the place, the space. Good? To check in. And to figure out, to understand something, to understand finally how to do something, to figure something out, okay? So digital nomads have to figure out where they will work from when they move to another country. They have to figure out where they will work from, right? I've just arrived in, I don't know, Italy, and now I need to figure out where I'm going to work from. Is it a co-working space? And am I going to rent an Airbnb? Am I going to work from Starbucks? Some people can totally do their jobs from Starbucks. I, for example, teaching lessons, I've tried teaching lessons from Starbucks. The noise around me annoys me. So for me, it's not nice. Okay? To figure out. So I have to figure out another way to do it. All right? And to settle down. In my case, for example, so I like to travel, but eventually I need to settle down. Many digital nomads eventually settle down in a city, right? They travel, 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 and then they settle down in a city. To settle down. Now, what questions can we explore to talk about this more? Do you work from home, from an office, or somewhere else? How would you describe your workspace? What improvements would you like to make in your current workspace? What will make it better? Do you feel like you have enough privacy or quiet to focus on your tasks when you are at the office and when you are at home? What are the most common distractions you face when you were working from home? What about distractions in the office? Which ones are worse in your opinion? Think about you, your job, your area. Have you ever had to work in an unusual or uncomfortable location? What was that like? For me, teaching from the cafe was very uncomfortable. The background music was distracting, people, connection was unstable. I hated it, but I have had to do it a couple times. Okay? So how would you answer these questions out loud? Use this vocabulary we just saw. And these expressions here are to get things done. Even when I am traveling, I make sure I get things done. Even when I'm traveling. Okay? I stick to a routine. To make sure I get things done, I always stick to a routine. And that's true. I stick to a routine. I have my working hours. I go do exercise every day, even when I'm traveling. From Monday to Friday, it's a regular week for me. That's very hard, okay? It takes a lot of discipline. Now, to separate work from life, okay? Many people struggle when they work from home because they can't separate, okay, work from life. Now, separating Separating work from life when you are a digital nomad can be very challenging. Vamos usar esse exemplo para revisar a gramática? Qual é o verbo dessa frase? Where is the verb? Pause the video. Read the sentence again. Think about it. Where's the verb? This is some very advanced students make this mistake a lot. Okay, I always review this in class with my Smart Talk group. This is the verb, can be. What can be very challenging? Separating work from life when you are a digital nomad. Everything here is working as your subject. This is the subject of your sentence. Okay, you are talking about an activity. What can be very difficult? What can be very challenging? Separating work from life. When you are a digital nomad, to make it even more specific, but this activity, separating work from life, this can be very challenging. Whenever you are talking about activities in English, they have to be in the ing. Working while traveling can be unproductive. Working while you're traveling can be unproductive. Now, taking care of your kid while working, taking care of your kid while working from home is impossible, especially if you have a baby. Taking care of your kid while working from home is impossible. If you do it, you are my superhero. I admire you so much. That's impossible. What is impossible? Taking care of your kid while working from home. This activity is impossible. So it has to be in the ing. Okay? To hit a deadline. Okay? I work hard to hit all my deadlines, even when I am traveling. Okay? To hit a deadline. And to be on the clock. To be on the clock. That means to be officially working, okay, during a certain period of hours, for example. So you have working hours. Let's say I don't take personal calls. Think about the example. I don't take personal calls when I'm on the clock. This is an expression which means during my, working hours, I don't take personal calls. So there you go. Being a digital nomad, working from home. How would you talk about this in English? Now you have a lot of vocabulary to take it to the next level. I will see you in class. Bye-bye.